to the British History Podcast wrap-up show. I am Benjo.
And I'm B.
And this is Season 1, Episode 13.
Season 1, Episode 13.
So,
how do you say that word?
My personal preference is agricola.
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 Oh, you make up your mind.
No, agricola.
Agricola. Benjo's so confused.
Agricola.
Agricola. Maybe that's a third way to say it. I don't know. Agricola.
Agricola.
So we are in about the year 77, and we've got Agricola. But anyway, Benjo, my co-producer, how you doing, bud?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Everybody, like I've said before, everybody in the comments is like, we want more Benjo. Quit talking so much. Give us more Benjo. Quit telling us.
I don't think anybody's commented on any of our videos.
You don't know. You don't know. Dark web. What? Yeah, so Benjo, what you been up to?
Chilling at football practice today.
Yeah.
Starting long snapper.
Boom. Westview Middle School Titans. We got to talk to Jarrett.
Yeah.
He's off at the Citadel.
Doing great.
Yeah, doing great. In fact, if he calls during this, we may have to go to a commercial break, right?
Yeah.
Thanks to our sponsors, Surrender Cobra Band. Check them out at surrendercobraband.com.
Mm-hmm.
Mama's gone, so we had to fend for ourselves tonight. How are we doing?
Good.
Yeah, good. Notice you got a haircut.
Yeah.
I tell him to grow it long like a rock star. Anyway, we'll continue to talk, personal life here and there, but let's get into the story,
Mm-hmm.
Enough small talk, they say. They say they want more Benjo narrating. So anyway, last episode, if you recall, it was kind of a cultural episode. We talked about what life was like for the average person 2,000 plus years ago. But Jamie gets back to the great man approach. But before he does, he starts this by listing the names of new members for the first time. So have you heard that at the start of each episode? It'll be like, and thanks to Jamie and Rodney and Tanisha for signing up already. And I always look for when I became a members only.
Have you found the episode that's wrong?
I don't. He said Brandon before, but it wasn't like when I started listening.
That sucks.
So I don't know. Maybe he just spreads it out. But he. Does he
do that? Is he still doing that every episode?
Yeah. Most of them, I think. Yeah.
Well, thanks to our new members, Jerry,
George, Elaine, Kramer,
Tina,
yeah, Newman. But he also starts off by talking about the possibility of starting a members only episode. So we're still season, early on.
Yeah.
And we have a bunch of members only episodes. But this podcast does not cover members only episodes, right? Because then we'd be getting into the digs and the when Jamie goes over there, or when he's there's one like where he puts mead together, like old style beer, and drinks it. Anyway, remember, this podcast is only about the regular episodes. Anyway. So he kind of starts, I think, from the kind of at the general, right before the general climax, but then he goes back. So we want to think about northeastern Scotland, present day northeastern Scotland, where Agricola and his Roman forces fought against 30,000 what they called Caledonians. All right. Caledonians is really just kind of a generic term for northern British, Scottish people, red hair. We'll come back and talk about that a lot again. But anyway, the moral of this story is that Agricola He fought 30,000. It may have been exaggerated, this number, by a Roman source, but
Yeah.
we'll talk about that. You know how people be exaggerating.
I know how people be exaggerating.
But the Romans didn't even use their legions, which were basically like armies of 5,000 men. We know a little bit about battalions and companies, right? Because of Jarrett's at the Citadel, got his shaved head, and
he's in the
Mr. Military Man.
Lima Battalion.
Lima Company. Lima Company, battalion? 3rd Battalion.
3rd Battalion. How many battalions are there?
5. And there's like 5 companies.
What about in the military?
I don't know. I don't know if that's comparable. That's a good question. Anyway, so let's take a step back. And Agricola, before he gets to this northeastern Scotland spot, he conquers Wales. He took his post as governor of Britannia, and he went right into domination mode. Right. Mm-hmm. In 78, he conquers Wales. I'm sorry, I was kind of leaning over. I hope you could see me. He sit up straight. And when he conquers Wales, the Romans exterminated a tribe responsible for wiping out a Roman legion, like an entire group of 5,000 Roman soldiers. Crazy. But I don't really recall details of when, like a Welsh or a Britannic tribe exterminated an entire Roman legion, unless maybe we're going back to Boudica days. I don't know.
I feel you.
Anyway, so Governor Agricola's forces marched to Chester and York. So he's the Roman governor of Britannia, the Roman appointed governor. Dava and Aboricum, which is Chester and York, respectively. And Agricola was using kind of terroristic tactics here. He'd hoped that by being extremely dominant and forceful and violent, that he would it would result in people being compliant and doing what he told. There's 2 ways, Some people say you can catch more flies using honey rather than vinegar. Be sweet rather than mean. You ever heard that?
More honey's being fly.
Yeah. Who said that?
It was in
Tom Haverford?
No, it was in a year's.
Oh yeah. Who said that?
I think it was
Christopher Smith, Boogie.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's marching to what's really northern Britain. It wasn't really unified, although Venutius's defeat did not stop the rebellion there. They just still weren't unified. But I mean, I don't know that it's a constant theme. I don't know that anybody could be expected to be as unified and as organized as the Romans. Right. You got it? You got it? Boom. So in 79, Emperor Vespasian died, and his son Titus becomes emperor. Now Tacitus is the one that I told you was writing a lot of these details, and I think that Tacitus was Titus's son-in-law, so he might have wanted to fudge the dates to give more glory to his father-in-law.
Yeah.
Anyway, in the year 81, Agricola reached the Fourth Clyde Isthmus, which I understand to be a waterway. Okay, and the Britons were the Roman forces going to northern Britain. So you got northern Britain and then Scotland.
Yeah. You
can really think of southern Scotland and northern Britain as kind of being one. Okay, so if you hear Scotland, what do you think about? Red hair. What do you think about when I say Scotland?
I think of smaller country.
Smaller country.
Like not in population necessarily size though.
Right. Like, Benjo, and it's a beautiful country. It is a nation that's part of the United Kingdom, and I'm always looking stuff up on
Wikipedia.
That's right, because it's like I constantly need a refresher about how the UK government works. The UK is England. What other countries? Do you know what other countries in the UK?
England. Is it
What were we just talking about?
Scotland.
Scotland.
Oh, yeah, Scotland.
Wales.
Wales.
in Northern Ireland,
Okay.
not the rest of Ireland.
That's
just Northern
where
Ireland.
Roy McIlroy is from.
That's right. That's right. But anyway, we're getting back to it. We're in northern Britain, southern Scotland, and the Romans are really organized. Again, we say that every episode.
Yeah.
And so some believe that Agricola went on a punitive raid. Well, hold on. Before I get to that, when he reached the Fourth Clyde Isthmus, he stopped because he noticed an ethnic or a racial difference. So the Scottish were taller with reddish hair, more like reddish hair, and they were tough and very hardy. They were democratic.
Okay.
Means they didn't really have as many monarchs and royal dynasties that passed down.
Excuse me.
They elected the most. It sounds like at a minimum they elected the most qualified. It didn't just pass down into families. They were also, ironically, thieves. So I just about to sneeze.
I need to, but
Yeah.
it's starting to like fade away now.
Okay. And they had no. So they were democratic, but they were thieves.
And they had no interest in agriculture.
Right. Right. It said
weird flex, but okay.
I think Jamie altogether says they seem a little crazier, and the terrain was rougher. And I think that's when you start getting into the Scottish Highlands and stuff. But anyway, so when we're talking about Scotland, you've got, and we got to get that our map so we can point to the British Isles is what they say. So you've got England right here, Wales in the west, generally Scotland in the north, and then you've got Ireland is another island, is a separate island to the northeast, and you got the Irish Sea between them, right? And so Ireland and Scotland are really kind of plugged in with each other throughout time, just because they're kind of close to each other. But anyway, so Jamie kind of goes off on a little tangent about Agricola potentially going into Ireland, but there's not really a definitive record of this, but they found some evidence of an invasion of some Roman artifacts in Ireland. But other than that, there's not definitive evidence that Agricola ever came to Ireland or did punitive raids. But I don't know. I was left with the feeling that I wanted to believe him. You know what I mean?
I know.
I feel like. What you mean. Do you know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying.
You do. All right. So Benjo.
We said that. Sorry.
So anyway, he stopped. He stopped way up north. He did not conquer the entire island. Agricola.
Why did you put that on that page? And then
I just went back and forth. I had to go back and cover the Irish part. But anyway, Emperor Titus died, and his brother became emperor, Domitian. And anyway, Domitian.
That's what I'm calling it.
Okay. Anyway, he succeeded. He had
ambitious.
He was even more ambitious than Titus was, and Titus had failed to conquer all, and he wanted to surpass his brother. So Agricola headed north to conquer even more territory at this point. Right. Right. So this is back to the original. So when I started, we were talking about the 30,000 Caledonians versus 11,000 Romans who weren't even legions. These weren't even legions. These were just some other soldiers that weren't in tight organized groups. They felt like 11,000 could beat 30,000 even without legions. Again, those numbers may have been inflated, but anyway, and so probably near Inverness, which is Mons Graupius, what they called Mons Graupius, Agricola forced a battle with the Caledonians. And I mean, what do we call this battle? I'm interested in the names of battles throughout history. It seems like, as I told you before, like the one with Boudica, there wasn't a name for that battle. We don't even really know where it happened. Yeah. Here it sounds like we know where it happens, but there's not a name for it.
Wait, so where?
Unless I go check it out at Wikipedia. Yeah.
So this happened. Wait, remember where this happened again?
In like northern Britain,
In northern Britain. Then
southern Scotland, or
so,
maybe it's even further into Scotland. It sounds actually, I think it's north of northern Britain, and it's like way up in Scotland at this
Okay.
point.
the
And so they're fighting.
okay, let's call it the Scottdonian the fight of
Well,
Scott.
so these are proto Scots, means like early Scots. But I mean, at this point, evolution's occurred. They got red hair. You know, what are you calling it?
Scottdonian.
Scottdonian. But they're Scots of an unspecified tribe, but they're just called Caledonians, which is really just a name for everybody north of what we understand to be Britain, right? And we're going to come back to that because there's going to be walls built, two of them. Spoiler alert. Anyway, Tacitus basically says that Agricola fought all the rest of the Britons. And by Britons, he's talking about the Caledonians or the Scots, okay, because they are of the island Britain.
Yeah.
So we go back with the numbers. He says that Britons had 30,000, Romans had 11 total.
11,000 you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying just 11.
11,000 total, yeah.
I was starting to freak out a little bit.
So some Caledonians attacked, but not enough. Again, as we keep seeing, the Romans slaughtered the Caledonians, and Tacitus says that 10,000 Britons were killed and 360 Romans were killed. I should let you read
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, that really sums up how powerful the Romans are.
It does. You're right. So at this point, Benjo, the rebellion on the north of the island of Britain, which is really current day Scotland, is over. Agricola celebrated, and I'm still a little, and maybe we'll have to listen to some future episodes because again, I've listened to all these, but it's been a minute. It's been several years since I listened to this. Maybe we'll have to listen to see if the Romans are in control of the entire island. I don't think the Romans ever controlled the entire island.
Yeah.
In fact, that's why they built the walls that I'm talking about. So anyway, he sent a fleet of ships. Because remember, I mean, think about it. These guys were like 2,000 years ago could sail. Yeah. I mean, just shipbuilding
is crazy thinking about it.
And shipbuilding goes back even thousands of years before that, thousands and thousands of years, tens of thousands of years. But anyway, he sent a fleet out to see around the northern tip of Britannia to see if Britain was circumnavigable. I mean, what is it, an island or is it attached to something? They found out, it was circumnavigable. Circumnavigable, that's a fun word.
Circumnavigable.
Navigable.
Circumnavigable.
Navigable.
Navigable.
Say it all together.
Circumnavigable.
There you go. That's pretty good. And so again, this is the same Agricola that just won this battle, who had exterminated an entire Welsh tribe, laid waste to Mona, which was a sacred Druid island. Thank you for reading cursive.
Mona Lisa?
No, I don't believe so.
Wonky.
Silly. But then, after all this violence and persecution that he wrought on people,
he says, "A little is gained by conquest is followed by
oppression. Little is gained by conquest is followed by oppression." So basically, he's saying, like, if you capture someone, what is gained? What is he saying?
He says,
so translate what you think that means.
Let me say it in my head first. Little is gained by conquest is followed by oppression. So yeah, he's saying, like, what is the point if you kidnap somebody of
kidnap? I like it. If what?
If you're not gonna kill them.
No, if you're not gonna treat them well.
But they wanted to kill them.
But he's saying that, well, they're saying Agricola said, if you go in and conquer a people, that doesn't necessarily mean you kill them all. It means you take them over and become their leader. By force, though. I mean, you kill some of them, but not all of them. I mean, some are left, right?
Yeah.
So he's saying little is gained by conquest if followed by oppression. So little is gained by taking over a people if you then, after you've taken them over, just treat them poorly.
Yeah.
So it's just, I mean, there's kind of a humanitarian moral of the story in that. Like, I don't know.
No.
You know?
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
it's
does that make him a better person?
I mean,
I don't know.
kind of.
You think? But he killed, like, he exterminated an entire tribe.
I know he's still.
We need backs. I didn't say he
was a good person, but it makes him better than he was before, I think.
Right. You think we're better sitting? Like, I feel like a better posture.
It feels better, but
yeah. So anyway, they go on to say, just like you said, he's been rehabilitated in the story, meaning his reputation's been rehabilitated. He was actually a fair governor. He reduced taxes that had been starving locals. He encouraged temple building and education of male nobles. Of course, not women at this time. They were just all dudes that were It was a big sausage party. Agricola seemed to prefer the Britons to the people of Gaul on the continent. And he was really good at Romanizing people. I don't know if that makes you. I don't know if that has anything to do with his redeeming qualities we're talking about in being a better person. But more Britons at this time began wearing togas and lounging at baths. That's what the Romans were doing.
They're just chilling right now.
They're just chilling.
They just chilling like villains.
They're just chilling under Agricola. But it sounds like they can chill if they do what Agricola tells them. Yeah. You know what I mean? If they don't, they ain't gonna be chilling.
They're gonna be chilling up in heaven.
Right. Anyway, Benjo, good talk today. Enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And that's all for season 1, episode 13.
Little challenge. Leave it down in the comments. What is different than what we usually like? What looks different than usual?
Right. And look, 1 comment per person. Okay, we can't go through all these comments.
Yeah, you're giving us headaches.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I've been Benjo.
And I've been B.
And we've been the British History Podcast Wrap-Up Show. Thank you for watching.
Don't believe